should have an open court case against Ireland over the failure to designate 217 special areas of conservation and for failing to keep the basic conservation measures in place.
So the nature restoration law is probably the most important piece of nature legislation in this whole generation. The last piece that was as important as this would have been the Birds and Habitats Directive, which was about 30 years ago. The nature restoration law is asking to restore 20% of EU land and 20% of EU seas.
So the European Union has said that we need the nature restoration law because we're failing, even though we have a lot of laws around nature, we're not implementing them, and member states are under no pressure from a time point of view to implement them. We also know that biodiversity is continuing to collapse. Whatever it is we're doing at the moment is not working. So the nature restoration law is really important in beefing up our response to the biodiversity emergency. So at the moment we're looking at some of the big political parties, particularly the likes of Fine Gael, but also Sinn Féin and Fianna Fáil, who want to kill this piece of legislation off completely. It's really important that people know this. They're not trying to amend it. They're not trying to improve things for farmers. They're trying to kill it dead so that they can move on and then forget about it in the next cycle of the European Parliament, which will come into play next year.
We want to ask MEPs and ministers to make sure that any members of their party that are representing them over in the EU, that they stick to their party stance, because the parties over here are all talking about how we need nature restoration, how they agree with the nature restoration law. There's been a citizens' assembly as well, which has taken people from every demographic across Ireland, and they haven't been more clear that they want Ireland to support a strong nature restoration law. That's what the Irish people want. So the heads of the parties, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and Sinn Féin, need to make sure that their MEPs are doing what the Irish people want.